Ion Dependency, with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live, on the Ion Dependency Facebook page, and YouTube channel.
And it's a grand rising to you, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Ion Dependency. Today, we return to a story that reminds us what survival really looks like.
Last week, Aneesa was unable to join us, but this Sunday she is here to share her truth. Her story is one of courage, trauma, and recovery. After years of abuse, she escaped her marriage, but not without lifelong scars. The violence left her blind, yet determined to live and to speak out.
Today, Aneesa opens up about even deeper wounds, including the assault on her 4-year-old daughter by the same man who hurt her, and the challenges of learning to live in a world that isn't built for someone who's blind.
We will also explore what it means to navigate the systems that fail survivors and the disabled, and how resilience can become a form of resistance.
We're live on I-95.5 FM and streaming on Facebook and YouTube. This is Ion Dependency, real stories, real recovery. So here we are again, Trinidad and Tobago, and the world by extension. Welcome, one and all, to this very important journey we've started with Aneesa. Keep in mind that Aneesa is one of the very few guests that we've had who has a wealth of experience in at least 3 categories of life that affects all of us, or can affect all of us socially. So it's domestic violence, living without sight now, and having to navigate the system. From being sighted to blind is a major transition for anyone. And I ask that we keep an open mind with this segment, because she's about to teach us a lot, again, about our system, the way we do business, and I hope that this program will be taken in the light in which it's intended. Because people, as you all know, we don't know what tomorrow brings. Today, you're up, walking, very healthy. Next day, someone can cause your disability or death even. Or you can lose your sight. You can lose a limb. You don't know. We, knock on wood, we never have to experience it, but there are people who are. And for us, the fortunate ones who can still jump out of bed literally and see the world with all its bright sunshine or rainy clouds, we have that ability. But what about those who don't? I ask you to think about that when you listen to Aneesa today. I ask if you know anyone in authority which falls with the responsibility to this issue, please let them know, to have a listen with an open mind. And it's a disclaimer, this program is not about to embarrass anyone at all. The people who are involved in Aneesa's life, because most of them still alive, we don't know their names, we don't know who they are. And we've always said that here from time to time. Our journey here is looking out for the victims and the survivors. And in the same breath, again, we issue that call that if there are any men out there who have a story to tell, you are always welcome to do so. Every life is a biography, as we say. The thing is, men are not as comfortable as women speaking about these issues. So this is why when people say we only interview the women, if the men want to come out and speak, we give them a platform. We are not going to repeat anything what we heard from men behind the scenes. You have to tell your story for yourself. So we give you that opportunity. It's not for women alone. And having said that, Natasha, welcome to Dependency.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And Aneesa is online, Natasha.
She is okay. We want to start. Well, first of all, welcome, Aneesa.
Let's make
know
sure we
that
can
you
hear her.
Hear you.
Aneesa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
You can? Okay,
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay,
wonderful.
great.
Right, so make yourself comfortable, Natasha, because she's going to take us.
Yes, we want to start. First of all, how are you feeling? Are you feeling better after that episode last week?
Yes, good morning to you, Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair. Good morning to the listening audience. And yes, I am feeling much better physically, mentally, and emotionally by the grace of God.
All right, glad to hear that, and I'm sure our audience is glad to hear as well. We want to start off by talking about the challenges of your disability now, as a result of, as we heard before, as a result of your ex-husband's attack on you.
Remember, before we do that, remember we had said we were going to touch on the situation with the child, and then we go to. So, Aneesa, the situation
Yes.
that when you found out, for those who didn't hear that part, apart from all of the things that you went through with being beaten, your blindness coming on, but this was before you lost your sight. You found out something that no mother, well, at least mothers, good mothers out there, don't want to hear at all. What did you find out? And for those who didn't hear you last week, and then we close that off and we go into your journey as a blind person.
Yes, sure, no problem. So, as I would have stated, my daughter at that time, she was 4 years old, and she had I had a caretaker, somebody that would have assisted me in like taking her to school and picking her back up. And there are times when she would stay by this caretaker, who was at the time a police officer. And usually, when she brings her back home, before when she's approaching, like she gets closer to my home, she would call me so that I would come out by the gate to receive my daughter. However, this time, when she came, she just packed up in front. She didn't call, she just packed up in front of the house, and then she called me. She said, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, so I went out. She said, sit in the car. So when she said that, now I am thinking, well, okay, this is probably some surprise, some achievement that my daughter would have acquired in school or something. So then when I sat in the car, she told my daughter, she said, say to me, your mommy, what you said to me. And my daughter told me what my ex-husband would have done. She said that he touched her on her private. Of course, at that, he had a funny name for it. She said he touched her on my, and I was in shock. She said he also showed me two people fighting naked on his phone, a man and a woman. At that point, I knew what she meant. He showed her porn, and she said he was touching up his, and so, but she is saying his private part, but as I said at that time, she had a name for it. And until she saw, well, she said ketchup, but at that time, again, 4 years old, mustard is mayonnaise is ketchup, So then when she said that, I understood what she meant. So he masturbated in front of her. So he touched her private, he showed her porn, masturbated in front of her. And at that point in time, all my marbles went haywire, so to speak. I said, why you didn't, I didn't know if to cry, if to scream, if to what. I said, why you didn't tell me anything? She said he told her that if she told mommy, she's not gonna see mommy again. So she was scared. From then on, the officer told me, don't say anything, because we were still living in the same house. And don't say anything, and because that will rile him and that will make it more difficult for they to apprehend him. And so I didn't. I trusted the words of the police officer, and I didn't say anything. But that was very difficult for me to deal with, knowing what he did, knowing that he took I trusted him, and he betrayed me. I mean, I don't think it had a greater level of betrayal than that. And that was the icing on the cake. 2 or 3 days later, as I said earlier in one of my interviews, I said that I had classes. So from work, I would go to class. And 3 days later, when I went to class, and I came back home, he took his. No, when I went inside, I realized the television wasn't there. And then my son said he came and he took it. And I never laid eyes on him since then.
How, in your gut, how did you feel? How many emotions did you go through? But you never
I would
reported
say
it, right?
I didn't even know it had so much emotion. No, because the caretaker, as I said, was a corporal of police at that point in time, and she told me she's going to take care of it. She told me not to say anything because that will rile him, so to speak, and it will give them problems in apprehending him, that she will take it from there.
And of course, that never happened.
Never happened. As of today, as far as I know, to my knowledge, no arrest was made.
Okay.
And how did you deal with her? How do you explain to her what happened and help her to heal from that experience?
My daughter is speaking up.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a very difficult thing to do over the years, because from what I am not a professional psychologist, but I'm a mother who know my child, and over the years I would have seen that affected her self-esteem a lot. And in her younger stages, I didn't even know how to approach it. But when she grew older, like from the age of 12 or from the age of 10, she would ask certain questions. Sometimes there were notes that she would have written secretly, and then we would have found it. And it to me, it was her expressing confusion. She wasn't sure what it is, what she would be writing on pages and on books and things and hide it. What is sex? And I was hurt. I was confused, because I felt those emotions. One, because this was supposed to be dealt with. The mere fact that my daughter would have opened up to a police officer, a corporal of police, who told me that she'll do the necessary things. She would do it because for the fact that my daughter was in her care at the point in time when she told her, and knowing that in that capacity that she works. And as time go by, I continue to ask her, okay, so what's going on with the report? What's the status of the report? She said to me, there's one time she told me that they'll have to take in my daughter to talk with her, and they'll have a psychologist or a counselor speak with her. They'll have to do a physical check on her. So I was pleased that something is being done. But to date, nothing has been done. So for me, having to deal with it, as I said, when my daughter was around 10 years old, no, it never happened.
Wow.
So when my daughter was around 10 years old, between 10, 11, 12, around those stages, that's when I started to break down to her what had happened and try to help her to understand, and, help her to understand that it was not my fault. I didn't know. And had I known, I would have acted differently.
Now, did she show an interest in porn while growing up?
At a point in time, yes.
Thought so.
So this was one of the struggles that I had to deal with. And as I said, she showed signs of low self-esteem.
Yes, because there are things that we, as children, there's some things, even as toddlers, if it's one thing says you remember happening in your life, and that impacted on you, and you'll always remember that in growing up, even as an adult. So I expected that she would have been, and this is the same. Now they are good now, right? At least in because you had to deal with that growing up, and her and the other daughter ending up in St. Jude's home.
Yes.
So there were behavioral issues, obviously, that would have been triggered by that incident.
Exactly. Yes, very much. And it was not just traumatic for them, it was traumatic for me as a mother, seeing this, having to go through this, trying to steer them on the right path. At that point, I was not familiar with counseling. I heard about it and stuff, but I wasn't familiar with it. Honestly, I would, there was a narrative, counseling and things that's like Dr. Phil with a leather couch, and we would laugh at those things.
Right.
Never to know I would need, because when my daughters would have absconded from home, the matter was placed before the court, I reached out to the court social services and I asked them to have, because they said that they had these services available, and I asked them to start counseling because I needed it. I needed somebody to talk to, somebody who would understand, somebody who is unbiased, who don't know me, who wouldn't judge me, who wouldn't, say, well, this is my fault, So I reached out and I started the counseling, and well, I needed it. And at that point in time, as I said, they had absconded, and they absconded more than once, but that when I started to see the behavioral patterns, the changes in their behavior, and so that's why I reached out. The court did not take my children from me. I reached out to the court to save my children from themselves.
Right. And you had mentioned to us earlier that this person has still been trying to contact her even as a teenager. How do you manage? How did you manage that? How did she manage that?
Well, throughout the years, this incident happened when she was 4 years old. So throughout the years, 5, 6, 7, until around 9 years old, there was no contact
Right.
with her. Why I would say that is because when she reached about 9 or 10 years old, there was a particular platform where most children would go and they'd make little videos and stuff. I don't want to say the name of it. And she had joined it. She was given a tablet, and she had joined it, and she would make little videos and stuff. And I don't know how a grown man was able to get onto that, because there was an age restriction. So at that time, I guess technology wasn't what it is today. And he was able to go on and he would take some of our videos and clip some of our photos, even off of my Facebook page, when I would have posted photos of my children and myself, when we go out and stuff, I would have posted photos. He went on my page and took the photos, not of us to say, well, okay, he's missing us or anything, he's missing his family. He took all the photos of her. There were photos with myself and her, or anyone that she was in, and he would have cut off the rest, whatever technology he used, he would cut off the rest and just kept the photos with her in it, whatever video she would have posted on that platform. And when around that age, now when he realized that he could have found her on the internet, he started sending it back to her and telling her, well, if you know what I did with these videos, and telling her how she's pretty and stuff, and she was not in my care at the point in time. And when she came back to my care at the age of 12 years old, she didn't tell me, She told, there was an incident where there was a challenge, a TikTok challenge, I think, with a song, and they had to do the dance state and stuff. And she did it. And so she posted it, and her friends and stuff were commenting. And he reached in her comment section and telling her, send him the video. He likes what she looks like and whatnot. She's all grown now and stuff. And she became scared, but she didn't tell me. She told a friend of hers. And this friend reached out to an adult, and that adult knew me, and that adult called me and told me what was going on. And I called her and we sat and we talked and I said, well, as I said, at the age of 12, she came back into my care. And we sat and we talked and I asked her, what is this? And she said, she was still scared because there were some things that she was saying, no, this didn't happen. I said, Miss Lady, if you're not telling me the truth, I can't help you. And she opened up partially and she told me that he continues to message her and stuff, but she does not respond. That was at the age of 12. And at the age of 13, but at all this time, I am dealing with her behavioral patterns.
Yes.
And
yes.
at that age, at the age of 13, and that would be February of 2022, that was the first time she would have absconded from home. But prior to that, when, as I said, she came back into my care at the age of 12, and her other siblings were also in my care as well. All this time I am blind, but I have to look after them. And my support system, which would have been close family members, my sister, two of my uncles, I have quite a few uncles, but two specific ones, my grandmother, they lived in close proximity to me. So, you all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
loud and clear.
Oh yes, they lived in close proximity to me. So as I said, those were my support system. So I mentioned my two uncles because they played a father figure role in my children's life. I mentioned my sister because she played a mother's role in my children's life. And even my grandmother because she, well, granny is always the pillar of every family. And we lived in close proximity. When I say close proximity, I opened my bedroom window, I could see inside my grandmother's house. I could walk outside in my yard, I could see my uncle. So that's how close we lived. And they were all part of that support system, physically, mentally, and emotionally. One of my uncles, he was the lawgiver. He's the one who put down rules. I don't want all they doing this, and he will come, he will make sure they do their chores. Another one, he would be the one who would, in case I would need of anything and I didn't have enough money, he would stand in the gap, he would provide it for them. Sometimes when I didn't have enough to prepare a meal or stuff, he would be the one to stand in the gap. My sister, she would be the one, she would, whenever I had to, if I have to go out or I have to go to the doctor or something, she would look after my children because at that time, COVID was present. So they didn't have physical school. So my next sister, she would look over them and ensure that if I had to go out at that time, she would look over them and ensure that they did their studies and stuff. And between 2020 to 2022, all these four persons that I speak of, I will lose them. First, it was my grandmother, my uncle. That's the one who I said he would be the one who would provide sometimes when I don't have. He died. Some 8 months later, my grandmother died. 2021, my uncle, the one who I said he was the lawgiver, he was like the police, he would enforce, he would make sure that everything is in order. He was murdered, and then 30 days later, my sister died. None of them died of COVID. So it was traumatic for me, and I know it was even more traumatic for them. At that time, as I said, psychology and counseling is something that from in my childhood we looked at as a joke. We would say, Dr. Philip, let her couch. If somebody behaving in a manner that, they seem to be emotionally distressed, that was a joke for us. Oh, she needs Dr. Philip, let her couch. So we grow with that tendency to think that, we knew nothing of it. I saw my mother, my grandmother deal with situations. It's like we knew about pushing things under the carpet, so to speak, and move forward and believe that all is well. However, at that time, that's where I learned, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So, as I said, I know that was traumatic for myself to deal with, so it was traumatic for them. But for me to sit down and ask them how they felt, and we relate and we open with one another, it was so much an undercurrent in the house. It was such a frustrating time. We didn't do that. I wasn't able to do that. I didn't have the capacity to understand.
Right. And that is a trait of predators. They will choose to prey on.
No, I see what they're going through, but how to understand how to
course.
Shout out to Relate.
Aneesa,
Could not have done that.
apart from it, there's a huge delay. You're starting to break up a bit. So, if folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Aneesa. And like I said at the top, expect Aneesa to be with us for a while, because Aneesa has things that we on the outside don't hear about to share with us. Believe me when I tell you. And we are speaking with one of the most phenomenal human beings. We've been doing this program for 24 years, plus years. And as I said to Aneesa, even last evening, she's one of the emotionally strongest people I've ever met, because it was one thing after the next with this lady. And from being violated in a marriage, physically, emotionally, and then to get blinded, then to lose her children one after the other. I mean, her family members one after the other. Then her children, ending up before the legal. Listen, this, and she's not done yet. She's just getting started. So again, I'm appealing for open-mindedness listening to this broadcast. Remember, despite our division and how we feel about each other, we are all still citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And I hope we could remember that. And we have family. What if? All right? So, Aneesa, are you hearing us again? Are you back with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
Great.
So,
Now, just one more question before we move on and maybe take a break. Based on your experience with your daughter with that assault, is there anything that you would like to share with parents who suspect or know that their children may have been harmed by somebody who they know and trust?
Yes. First, I would like to say, talk with your children and not always to your children. So that they would have that comfortable space. You have to create that comfortable space where they can open up to you. As in my case, my daughter was scared because she wasn't sure at first how I would react. She thought I would have been angry. She thought that it would have been her fault, So as a parent, I would say, and also be cognizant of the fact of the people that you bring around you. I trusted the wrong person, and I paid the ultimate price. But as I said, in a sense, talk to your children more than we talk with your children, more than we talk to them, and to build that comfortable space that no matter what happens, they have that, that ability to come to you, come forward and speak, and be careful of the people that you bring up, even family members, because I would have had experience with family members with my children as well. So we have to be careful and pray, cover your children with prayer.
Aneesa,
That is my advice to parents.
I was going
Yes.
to ask you that question, that even family members, when they see your life going a certain way and there's an opportunity, they will take advantage of it. So that happened too.
Yes, there was a instance where that would have happened.
Wow. You really, sister, you are really strong. God kept you here for this reason, I'm telling you, because you could have given up on life so much. Before we go to the break, did you ever blame yourself and say, this is all my fault and I am, like we say in this country, I real sour, I need a bush bath? Or you ever tried any obia man or anything?
No. I when this now started to unfold, there were times when I would partially blame myself, but not to say, well, this is all my fault. There were times I would partially blame myself, and I would say, what it is I didn't do, what I did do. I go back in my mind and trace back the sequence of how things happened and where I missed. I try to identify that place. But as I go forward, I come to understand and I come to accept that there are things that happen in my life that I could not have control. I didn't have no control over. I didn't know. So yeah, there were times, but I didn't fully blame myself. Partially, I thought, I should have done this different, but I always kept in the back of my mind, I did what I could have done. With the resources that I had available, I did what I could have done.
Let's go to a break, folks. Let's go to a break. You're listening to Aneesa. She has more to share. Sometimes I wonder about the coldness of people, both male and female, when they see people suffer and add to that suffering. You are a special person, and taking advantage of situations when you should try to protect, you pray. You're special. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that locked up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Bago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, alright. Don't drop the soap. Carry on.
I on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I 95.5 FM.
Oh gosh, it really making hot today, boy.
Mommy, what you drinking?
I'm trying to cool down in this heat. Beer is not for you though. Only adults can have alcohol.
But Mommy, alcohol is not for you either. Pregnant women not supposed to drink alcohol.
Where you hear that?
Mr. Gart from Iron Dependency was telling us in school about fetal alcohol syndrome. That's what babies get when mummies drink while they're pregnant. I don't want a brother or sister like that, Mommy.
Okay, you're right. I'll go drink water instead because I want this baby to be a happy, healthy child just like you.
Thank you, Mommy.
Drinking while pregnant can have devastating consequences. Think before you drink. A message from I on Dependency.
Join us this Sunday for episode 44 of I on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Last week, Aneesa was unable to join us, but this Sunday, she continues her story. Aneesa is a survivor of domestic violence whose escape from abuse left her permanently blind. Now she opens up about the unthinkable, the assault on a 4-year-old daughter, and the struggle of learning to live as a blind mother in a world not built for her. It's raw, it's painful, and it's real. But it's also a story of strength and survival. Listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the I on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit, Ministry of Homeland Security brings you I on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Ion Dependency, and we are speaking live with Aneesa, who is a survivor of many things, as we have heard, and she's also now blind. So that is a completely new experience for her. Aneesa, you still with us?
Folks, you have to bear, there's a long delay, if you notice, right? So, I don't know if Aneesa's still with us or but in the meantime, while waiting on her to reconnect, yes, she's here, she is.
She's here.
I want you all on Facebook and YouTube especially to